Hi, welcome to Soft Tutor Minds. So, currently in the market right now, everywhere full stack, full stack, full stack. The most demanded skill is full stack. So let's try to understand what is this full stack? Why the full stack developer have this much of demand? Okay, all right. So let's get into the topic. What is this full stack? What is full stack? Full stack is a combination of three parts. It is a combination of three parts. Combination of three parts. So what are the three parts? What are the three parts? One is front end. One is front end. One more is back end. One more is backend, and one more is database. Right. So let me draw the architecture of the full stack so that you can easily understand. See, listen. So whenever you have the architecture in your mind, you can easily understand anything. Anything. So let's try to understand the architecture of the full stack. So let's assume this is the front end, okay, and then this is the backend, okay, and then this is your database. This is the third part, that is database. Okay. All right. All right. So what is the role of the front end in the full stack? What is the role of the front end in the full stack? Let's suppose this is the front end now. Okay, so let's try to understand what is the role of this front end. Front end is used to develop user interfaces. It is used to develop user interfaces. UI. What is this user interface? What is this user interface? For suppose, let me take an example as in, for suppose Flipkart or Amazon, any e-commerce website, or like Facebook. Okay, let me take Facebook as an example. Okay, all right, facebook.com. If you observe carefully here, the facebook.com, the landing page of Facebook, you'll find something here. You'll find something here. What is this? The logo of the Facebook, and then along with the logo, there is some content related to the Facebook. Along with this, okay, some text boxes is there, right? Some text box is there, and some password box is there, and some login button is there, and then there is a link. Whenever you forget the password, there is a link to generate new password, and then some other button is there. This is nothing but user interface. That means you are interacting with the Facebook application with using this interface. This is the landing interface where everyone must have to reach here before getting into the Facebook application, right? So to develop this type of user interfaces, we need the front end person. That is that is nothing but UI. UI. We call it as an UI. All right. All right. What is this part? Backend. Backend. What is the purpose of the backend? The main purpose of this backend is, okay, to process the front end request. To process the front end request. What do you mean by processing? What do you mean by processing? Say for suppose, let me take any other example. Okay, Flipkart or something else. Flipkart. So in this Flipkart, I want to search for the mobiles or some, okay, or some laptop. So what I need to do, I have to search here in the search box mobiles, right? So whenever I'm searching for the mobiles and click on the enter, what will happen? I'll get all the mobiles in the front end. See, one more thing, remember, whatever you can able to see with your eyes, everything will be comes under the front end. As a user, you can able to see only the front end, right? Very good. So whenever you're searching for the mobiles here, you'll get all the mobiles here. So how you are getting all the mobiles here? That is what my question here. So whenever you're searching for the mobiles, so a request will be passed to the backend. A request will be passed to the backend people. Okay. So what the backend people will do? The backend people will collect all the data from the database. The backend people will collect all the data from the database. Okay. How they are going to collect means they are going to create another request to the database to collect the mobiles data. Why? Because whatever the data you have, every data will be always present in the database. What the database will do? It will return. It will return along according to the request. It will return all the mobiles to the backend. Then backend will showcase to the user in the UI. This is what happening in each and every request in the real time. In each and every request, whatever it may be. Okay. So what I am going to train you here to develop this type of front end. What are the technologies you are going to learn to develop this backend? What are the technologies we need to learn here to develop this database? To develop this database to communicate with the database. What are the technologies we need to learn? That is what we are going to discuss here today. Okay, let's start with the front end. All right. To develop a good looking user interfaces like this, we need to learn a few technologies. We need to learn a few technologies to develop a user interfaces like this. What are the technologies? One is HTML, another one is CSS, next one is JavaScript, and one more is Bootstrap, and better to go with React.js. These are the five technologies we need to learn to become excel in the field of front end. If you want to become a front-end developer, these 5 technologies are more than enough to become a front-end developer as a fresher. Okay, these three. Okay, let me divide these two and these three. Why? Because these are the very basics. We need to learn these basics firstly, so that we can able to learn these advanced concepts. Okay, so all right. Until now, clear. Now we need to understand the purpose of each and every technology. For suppose, let's take HTML as an example. What is the purpose of the HTML? What is the purpose of the HTML? See, it stands for hypertext markup language, but we need to understand the purpose. Why to learn this technology? What is the usage? Okay. So HTML is used to structure the content on the web page. HTML is used to structure the content on the web page. Let me write here. Okay. To structure the content on the web page. To structure the content on the web page. What do you mean by structure the content? Nothing but design, no. Nothing but design. Let me take the Facebook as an example. See what is here? Some content which is related to Facebook. Okay. What is here? There is some text box. There is some text box. There is something inside the text box. Email address or phone number. Here it is a password box. Okay. There is some content, password. So to design a web page like this, we need HTML. We have the content, we are structuring here. We have the content, we are structuring here. To design the web page, to structure the content on the web page, we need HTML. We need HTML. Now got it? Got it? Good. Next one is CSS. What is the purpose of CSS? CSS is a styling language. Styling language means to add styles. What do you mean by styles? Let me take the same example here. What is the color of the Facebook? It is in the blue color. What is the color of this login button? It is in the blue color, right? So what is the color of this one? Create your account. It is in the green color. So to add this type of colors to your web page, we need CSS. Nothing but these colors are nothing but the styles. Not only the colors, you can add multiple things. Okay, those all comes under styles. To add styles, we need this language that is CSS. Add styles. To add styles. Very good. What is the third one? JavaScript. JavaScript. What is the use of the JavaScript? All right. See, JavaScript is a programming language. With using JavaScript, you can do multiple things. Let me take anything as an example. Okay, for suppose, if I click here login without giving email ID, without giving password, if I click on the login here, can I able to login? No, not at all. It's not possible. So whenever if I try to log in here, what I will get? I'll get an error message. Please enter email ID. Please enter password. Right? Please enter email ID. Please enter password. So those are called form validations. We can develop form validations with using JavaScript to develop form validations. Not only form validations, we can do multiple things. Like, for suppose, let me take this Facebook, Flipkart now. See, whenever my cursor is moving towards to the electronics, I'm getting some drop down. See, some changes are happening. See, some changes are happening. Why? Because this is not a static web page. This is a dynamic web page. To make a normal web page as a dynamic web page, we need this JavaScript. We can develop dynamic web pages. We can develop dynamic web pages. Good. Anything else we can do with the JavaScript? Yes. Yes. If you observe carefully here, there is some connection between the front end and back end. How to create the connection? There are multiple ways. One of the way with using JavaScript, you can create connection between your front end and back end. Okay, that is nothing but integration. Integration. Okay, good. That's why JavaScript has more demand in US, mostly in US, in other countries except India. In India, mostly the Java and Python has more demand. But JavaScript is also a programming language which has huge demand in the entire world. You can go and search in the browser, Google also. Okay, you'll find the JavaScript is the most popular and demanded programming language in the entire world. Right. Okay. Now, after completing the JavaScript, there is something else. What is this? Bootstrap and React.js. What is the use of the Bootstrap? What is the use of Bootstrap? What is the use of Bootstrap? See, with using Bootstrap, you can add styles in easier way. That means, okay. For suppose I want to create this type of box, this type of navbar. For suppose if you want to develop this type of navbar with using your CSS knowledge, it may take an hour to develop this part. But when you go with the CSS, within 10 minutes you can develop. Why? Because CSS is an okay, sorry, Bootstrap is an CSS library. Okay, Bootstrap is an CSS library. It is a CSS library. What do you mean by library? Library means what? It is a combination of multiple books. When you go with the book library, you will find a lot of books in the library. But it is not a book library. It is not. It is a CSS library. CSS library means what? It contains lot of CSS classes. Okay, those all classes will be available in this library. You can use those classes to add styles in the easier way. Not only in the easier way, you can add styles 10 times faster when you compare with the CSS. Not only that, multiple things, you can add icons, you can add some other styles. Okay, you can add different classes with using Bootstrap. That is the advantage of the Bootstrap. So you can ask me, can I learn directly the Bootstrap without learning CSS? No, it's not possible. Bootstrap is an advanced thing of CSS. You can't learn Bootstrap directly without having knowledge on CSS. Good, that's good. Right. So what is the fifth part? That is React.js. What is the use of React.js? What is the use of React.js? You can build applications. We can build applications. Which type of applications? Which type of applications? For example, let me take Swiggy. I hope you all know Swiggy, Zomato, or e-commerce website. Okay, or otherwise a company portfolio or your own portfolio. Multiple types of websites are there. You can develop any type of application. You can develop some complex application, not a simple application. You can develop complex application with using React.js. But what is React.js means? It is a JavaScript library. It is a JavaScript library. The same way, okay, right. It is a JavaScript library. The same thing with using JavaScript, you can build something, but you can't develop the entire application with using JavaScript. But with React.js, you can build the entire application. But internally, JavaScript you are going to use in the React.js. Without having knowledge, you are not eligible at all to learn React. Without having knowledge on JavaScript. Clear about front end? Clear? This is all about front end. This is all about front end until now. Now let's come back to the back end. Okay. Okay. Right. Let me introduce about my company. Okay. Before getting into the back end, let me give me 2 minutes to explain about my company. Okay, already you know it is Soft Tutor Minds. We are providing IT training both online and offline. If you select offline, the tutor will come to your doorstep to explain the IT skills at your home directly. If you select online, you can select online also. We are providing both offline and online, but offline only at your doorstep. For single person, one trainer will be there. Okay, with affordable prices. If anyone interested, okay, here is the contact number. You can contact directly to our backend team. They are going to provide you the entire information about the courses. We're providing 6 to 7 courses. Okay, here. So you can go with any course if you are comfortable. Okay. Just contact our backend team for more details. Thank you. All right. Let's come back to the topic. Yes. What is this backend? What is the use of the backend? As I said earlier, backend is used to process the front end request. That means for suppose let me take an example. If you are visiting an ATM machine to withdraw some money, what you guys are going to do? You are entering your code. After entering your after inserting your code, what you guys are going to do? You're entering some money, how much you guys want. So what will happen? You're entering the money in the front end. That money request will be reaches to the back end, but your actual amount or your actual bank balance always present in the database. Why? Because the bank balance is also data. Okay, remember always one more very important point. There is no direct connection between your back end, like your database, and your front end. There is no direct connection. It's not possible. There should be always a back end. It plays a major role here. What is the major role means? See, you want, for suppose, some money from your bank account. What will happen? For suppose you have 10,000 of money, so you want to withdraw 5,000 from your bank account. So 10,000 minus 5,000, the updated balance will be reaches to your database. So whatever the logic is there, 10,000 minus 5,000, the remaining amount you are going to, the backend people will insert again into the database. So that logic will be happen in the backend only. Okay, those are called business logic. We are going to develop those type of business logics in the backend portion. Now my question for you guys is, what is how to develop this type of backend, how to develop this type of business logic, what are the things we need to learn to develop this type of good looking, okay, backend. So you can select Java as a programming language in the backend, or you can select python, or you can select, okay, node as a backend, or multiple PHP, .NET. Either you can use JavaScript also as a backend also, it is also possible. You can select anything as a backend. For suppose if you select Java again got divided into core core Java and advanced Java. Advanced Java. Core Java and advanced Java. In core Java, you guys are going to learn the core concepts. For suppose if you select Python, core Python, advanced Python. Like this. For suppose You selected Java. After learning the core Java means what? It contains core concepts like operators, strings, arrays, collections, Java 8 features. Okay, these all stuff, conditional statements, loops, pattern, these all stuff you are going to learn in the core Java, which are very, very, very important to get into the IT sector. That means, for suppose you are applying for the job, there will be 3 to 4 rounds. The first and second round will be the coding round. If you want to select in the first round, if you want to qualify in the first round, you should be very clear with the core concepts. It can be Java or it can be Python. It doesn't matter. You can select any programming language as a backend. But the thing here is, you should be very, very, very clear with the core concepts. If you are very clear with the core concept, no one will stop you to get into the IT sector. Okay, then why to learn advanced Java? To build applications, this core knowledge is not at all sufficient. We need to learn these advanced concepts in Java or Python, whatever it may be. Advanced concept means which you guys are going to use in your real time. Whenever you are entering into a company, okay, so they are going to expect some advanced skills. Okay, you guys are already trained as a full stack developer. That means you should be very clear with some advanced concepts. Okay, so after learning the advanced concept, there is something else called frameworks. Frameworks. For Java, the framework is Spring Boot, Hibernate. These all comes under the frameworks in Java. If you select Python, Django. Django is the framework. Okay, like, so this frameworks plays a key role. Why? Because whenever you are working in a company, you are going to work on the framework only. But inside the framework, you are going to use your core knowledge, you are going to use your advanced knowledge, you are going to use your front end knowledge, everything. That's why framework is very, very important. But you can't learn framework directly without having knowledge on core knowledge or advanced or front end knowledge. Without having anything, you are not supposed to learn these frameworks. Clear? Clear? The Java frameworks are Spring Boot, okay, and then Hibernate also a framework. And then for Python people will be like Django is a framework. Multiple frameworks are there. Okay, later. Let's come back to the third part, that is database. As I said earlier, database is used to store the data, to store the data. Right? If you want to store the data, you are going to use the database, but how you are going to store? That means my question is here, for suppose you want to store some data from the front end into the database. So you can't store directly, you need to use the backend portion. So you are going to give your data to the backend. This backend is going to communicate with the database to store your data. But how? Database can able to understand English or Telugu or any Hindi languages? No. You need to communicate with the database, or you need to communicate through like backend to the database, like which language is going to like how the database is going to understand. That means database, if you want to communicate with the database, you need to learn a special language, that is SQL. Stands for structured query language. If you want to communicate, why to communicate? If you want to store, if you want to retrieve, or if you want to delete the data in the database, if you want to update the data in the database, you need to communicate with the database. How to communicate means we need to learn this SQL. Yes, exactly structured query language. The database can able to understand only one language, that is SQL. You need to ask in this language only to do CRUD operations. CRUD operation means creating, updating, deleting, retrieving. These are called CRUD operations. If you want to perform the CRUD operations on database, we need to ask the database in this language only. Clear? These many technologies you need to learn to become a full stack developer. If you are good in these technologies, you are completely eligible as a full stack developer. Then you can ask me, okay, what the scope in the market for the full stack developer? What is the scope? See, the full stack developer can able to apply for the front end role, like front end developer, or UI developer, or React.js developer, or JavaScript developer. These all roles will becomes under in the front end. No, sir, I'm very good with the back end. So you can go with the back end. Like there are some roles for the back end also. For suppose back end developer, or you're too good with the Java developer, core Java developer, or Spring Boot developer, Spring developer. You can go with anything. You can go with anything. For suppose you are good with Python developer, like core Python developer, Django developer, or you're good with the Node developer. These all roles will be comes under the backend. You can apply for any role. What I said now for the backend. Okay. So I am good with the SQL language. Is there any opportunity for the SQL? Yes, multiple. The role is SQL developer or database management or MySQL developer. MySQL developer. What is this MySQL? MySQL is a database. Just to store the data, we need a database now. To store something, we need some storage. The storage is nothing but a database. So you can select any database, MySQL, Oracle, okay, MongoDB, SQL Server, okay, or otherwise H2 database, HSQL, multiple databases are there. You can go with any database, but just you need to install that software into your system to use this database. But to communicate with the database, you need to learn this language. This is language, this is database. See, try to understand clearly. Language is separate, storage is separate. If you want to communicate with the storage, we need to learn this language. But the storage is, you can select anything, MySQL or Oracle or MongoDB or H2, HSQL. You can select anything, SQL Server. multiple database are there. You can go with any database. That's clear. I hope you got an idea what is what. Thank you. Thank you very much.